Hi, I'm Jeff Ludy, the owner of Houston Window Experts. We're in Pasadena, Texas. Yes, there's a Pasadena, Texas. There's a Cleveland, Texas. There's a Paris, Texas. Hey, welcome to Texas. If you live in Texas, welcome home. Today we're in this part of the city where we're doing a redo on a project that another window company did about a year ago. Ended up in a lawsuit or near a lawsuit in order for them to get resolution to this. So now we're taking out windows from another manufacturer and we're putting in our windows. And I want to tell you a little bit about that story because it's the kind of stuff I talk about all the time, how important it is to not just find a window you like, a good window, but also a good window company. And that's kind of where things fell apart here. Hey, if you live in the Houston area, I'd love for you to come by and visit our showroom or give us a call. Maybe we can be of help to you with your window project. We have over a dozen brands of windows and doors to choose from. If you don't live in the Houston area, check out Jeff's List. I've created a list there of great window companies, people that I personally have vetted all over the country that I know do a terrific job on windows and doors. Okay, so if you want to follow me this way, and we're going to have to do a little bit of cutting back and forth because there's some inside and some outside stuff I want you to see. But right here today, you can see where this is a beautiful house. It was probably built in the mid-50s would be my guess. It's got great structure to it. The brick is in terrific shape. The homeowner's done a lot of work on this. They've invested some money. They plan on staying here. The values keep going up. But he tells me, he says, the mistake I made, Jeff, was, he said, I went for the cheap window. He said, the window that I ended up getting was all based on price, and I regret that. He said, you get what you pay for. And I'm glad to hear him say that. He says, I made that mistake, but I won't make it again. So here's an opening. This is one of their bedrooms where we took out a window. The window's already come out, and I've got the window over here I can show you. And then this is the window over here on the right that you can see that we're actually going to go ahead and put back in. One of the main differences between the two windows, first of all, is the glass. So the window glass that's in this window here that we took out is actually very inferior. It's very cheap. And yes, there is a difference in glass quality, just like there's a difference in quality of anything, right? TVs, you have different tiers, different qualities. So the glass is much better in this one. When I say much better, I'm talking about it's more efficient, it's more transparent, and it actually has fewer, if any, distortions whatsoever compared to the window that we pulled out. But one of the primary differences is this. Check this out. This window is so bulky because the vinyl is so cheap. It has to be really thick. And I have a video where I talk about thick wall vinyl versus thin wall vinyl and why people brag about how many chambers their window has. This is that window company, and I can't mention the name. I don't want to get into a lawsuit. I get enough letters from attorneys from window companies already based on my honest, transparent reviews. They want me to shut up, and I'm not willing to do that. But I'm just not going to throw myself under the bus for this. But this is a large window company all over the United States, and they sell a lot of windows at discount prices. This is probably the cheapest window you can buy. But since they're using a vinyl that is very inferior, that needs to have more of it. So for example here, on this particular window, okay, this is 3 inches. I don't know if you can see that or not, but this is 3 inches before you actually get to where the sash begins. And then you've got the sash. Here's the sash. And the sash goes inside of there. And then the sash takes up another 1.75 inches. So you're at 4 3/4 inches on this window before you start even seeing any glass in your opening. Whereas the window that we're putting in here, check this out. That was 4 3/4 inches. On this window that we're putting in here, it's just a little over half, a little over 1.5 inches, maybe 1 5/8 inches. So glass space to glass space, there's a huge difference. So check this out. My glass space on this window is 31 3/4 inches, 31 3/4 inches. And the glass space on this window is 31 inches. And then you have the frame that goes on top of that, and then you have the trim that goes around it. So you're losing 3/4 inches on this side, 3/4 on that side, left and right. Overall, you're choking everything down by almost 3 to 4 inches worth of loss of glass space just based on the way this window was designed compared to the way our window is designed. Like walk around the corner here. I'll show you a window that we have not pulled out yet because I think this would be interesting for you to see. A couple of things that I found that are wrong about this window in the first place is, number one, this is a bedroom, and this window would not meet egress for your ability to escape the bedroom if there was a fire. It's not wide enough. It slides open like this. It's not wide enough for you to be able to get out. We're replacing it with one that does meet egress, which actually goes vertical. so that there's enough room there for you to be able to get out of that if there was a fire. So I don't know why anybody would want that liability as a window company to not just put in the right kind of window in the first place in a project like this. But if you notice something here, the window frame, and I hope you can see that, but the window frame is kind of right there where that gap is. You see that gap where my finger is? There's a little line right there. That's where the window frame begins. And then you can see between the window frame and the brick, there's another little piece that goes over that, and then there's caulking on top of that, okay? Look at the same thing here on the bottom. The window frame goes here, and then there's a piece that goes underneath it, and it's got the same thing on the side, and it's got on the top. It's horrible. I mean, that you might could live with, but look at the very top up there. The window ends right there where the edge of my tape is. In fact, I can feel my tape hanging on the edge, and then look what goes above that. There's almost an inch of a plastic plate that they put. You can see the edge of it right there. See that line going right there in that corner? That piece is a flat trim piece that they stuck up there. You know why they did that? Because they made the window too small. They could have made the window go all the way to the top. Why did they make the window too small? You know why they made the window too small? Because they measured the window opening from the inside instead of measuring the window opening from the outside. When you measure an opening for a window, you're supposed to measure it on the outside because you want to go from brick to brick and brick to the window sill, to the lintel up here at the top. But they didn't do that. They did it from the inside. Why? Because it's easier, because it's convenient. But the main reason they did that was because they don't actually have people who come out and measure the project for installation reasons. They have the person who sold the job to you. He might have been working there a week, might have been working there 10 years, but you have a person who's not trained in installation doing the measurements, and that's what you end up with. But they don't care. Sending somebody back out here to take another trip out here to get exact measurements costs money. And when you're the cheapest window company in the world, you can't spend money on people. You can't spend money on excellence. You have to spend money on sales and marketing because you have to go through a whole lot of customers to stay in business. So we don't do it that way. Our window, and we'll get you some footage of it when we're done, this window right here, this is the top of our window. That top of that window is going to be sitting up against the top of that lintel. We're not going to have a 1-inch gap piece sitting up there to block that big gaping hole that sits up there. So that's the main difference. So in this window, for example, you'll see that it's almost at 4 inches before you actually start seeing glass. 4 inches before you start seeing glass. Whereas on this window, you can tell that we're at 1 3/8 inches before you start seeing glass. So that's kind of a big deal. Now I'm going to take a quick cut, and I've got to go all the way around the other side of the house, and I'll rejoin you over there. I want to show you something else we're doing. Okay, so I'm standing in front of another opening. This is an opening where we have a big horizontal window, and here's what we discovered. And this happens not all the time, but in some houses, and I want to tell you about the remedy to this. If you come over here and look, kind of just get over my shoulder, you'll see that right here we have a gap between the house, the brick, and then the sheathing on the house. And this has that old rock. You know, this is an older house. Now a lot of times you'll see different things on here than what you see today, than what's here now. But we have that rock. So when our window goes in here, and our window's going to butt up against this edge, there's no good place for us to put a screw in here. We'd be screwing into dead air space, so to speak. So what we do instead is we cut these blocks. You can see that this is made out of a composite material. This material is fully composite. It will never rot, even though it's going to be back here where there could be some water. You know, water could get in behind the wall, not inside the house. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen, but water could get inside the wall and run down the wall. And if it ran down the wall and we'd used regular wood, this would rot out over a period of time, but this is not going to rot because it's fully composite. And this is called blocking. We're going to take a block like this. We have several of them, and we're going to screw a block in right here. And this is going to go, we're going to have to put a screw in it at a toe angle, right, to get in there. But this is going to go right here, and we're going to put different ones all the way around the perimeter. And what that's going to do is when we put our window in now, it gives us something to screw our window down to. We're actually going to screw the window down to this, okay, instead of trying to find some alternative that is not durable and doesn't last like it should. I'll show you, in fact, we're going to cut to it right now. You can see it right here as I describe it. I'll show you what they did on the window. You can see where they put a screw that went right into the bottom of the corner. They went from a really extreme angle, and they tried to shoot into it at an angle to try to go inside the house and get a bite. See how that's at an angle? You don't want that. That's somebody just taking a shortcut. That's somebody not willing to do the extra work. So come over here and look. I can show you. If you look here closely, you notice right there, see that little screw hole right there? I hope you can see that. It may be kind of dark, but that's what they bit into. Biting into just the very tip, the very edge. When people do it that way, that's not cool. That sucks. That's a problem. And by the way, did you know we're not too terribly far from the ocean here? And we get hurricanes, we get wind, we get storms. Doing it right the first time is really important. Okay, I want to show you one more thing, so pause real quick and we'll go over here. All right, I'm hot out here, so I'm going to try to be quick on this, but this is really worth you seeing. So most window companies don't do what I'm about to show you, and I have a great video on how to install a leak-proof window, and I'm going to put the link right up here and also down in the description. It's really worth watching. If you're in the window industry, I would consider this a really good system for you to use. It's something we've been doing because we don't want any callbacks on windows, right? So most window companies, and as you saw over there where we showed you how other windows came out, they don't do this. We go to the trouble, look, to put this flashing. See this window wrap right here? This flashing, this is really expensive. It's really good stuff. And we flash all along the inside of the sill here. We flash all along the side like this right here, all around the top. You notice right here with this is actually a metal flashing. See that metal flashing up here? That's metal. We don't trust the tape up here because if water came down and sat on that tape, it might eventually cause that tape to start to lose its stickiness and end up going loose, and all the tape would lose its effectiveness. We don't want that. So instead we use metal, because the metal will not, under water, right, with water, the metal will not allow it to disintegrate or have any issues. So if water were to come down between the house and the window, it would be diverted and continue to go down till it came out at the weep holes on the brick. If it came down the sides here whatsoever, we've got the flashing here covering it. If it got here to the bottom of the window and for any reason tried to puddle, it's not going to get wicked up and absorbed back into the house with this wood soaking up all of that moisture. And not only that, what we end up doing is we end up putting caulking, like you can see we've got it right here. We're not completely done with this one yet, we're doing it, but caulking is going to go all the way around the perimeter, and then when that window sits in here, it's going to sit the window to the caulking to the tape to the house. And that gives us these extra layers of protection in order to keep your house dry and safe. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so what have you learned today? That skilled craftsmanship is rarely cheap, and cheap craftsmanship is rarely skilled. And the more you pay doesn't always mean the better job you're going to get, but somewhere between going for cheap and going for broke is where the best window companies reside. That's where I like to think we are. We offer great value to our clients. We stand behind our work with a lifetime warranty on our labor, and we do everything we can in our power to treat you the way we'd want to be treated, with honesty, dignity, and respect. Okay, if you live in Houston, come look us up. If you don't live in Houston, don't forget to check out jeffslist.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.